Good evening and welcome to the December 16th Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Pat, if you would call the roll.
Councilman Whalen. Councilman Stanhope. Here. Councilman Romano.
Here.
Councilman Mullins. Here. Vice Mayor.
Here, entertain a motion to approve town board meeting minutes of December 2nd.
So moved.
Second.
By Mr. Romano, second by Ms. Wallowit. Discussion?
Councilman Whalen.
Yes.
Councilman Stanhope.
Yes.
Councilman Romano.
Yes.
Councilman Mullins. Yes. Vice Mayor.
Yes. Communications and announcements. I just wanted to say that tonight is the last meeting for our beloved town clerk, Pat O'Donnell. So, Pat's had a long and distinguished career with the town of Clifton Park, and tonight is her last meeting. She decided to retire, and we wish her nothing but the best in the future. And I know she'll continue to work hard to improve the town of Clifton Park, just like she's always done. Not only within these walls of Town Hall, and not only within the confines of town government, but also amongst many organizations within our community that she supports, advocates for, and works tirelessly to promote their mission. So we know there's a lot of work ahead for Pat, but at least with this part of her career as town clerk with the town of Clifton Park, that will soon be coming to an end, sadly, for us. But God bless Pat, and I know you'll enjoy your retirement and having some more time to do the things that you want to do, and you've certainly earned them. So God bless you. Any other communications at this time? What more do we say after that? This is the last town board meeting of the year. I see we have a lot of students here today. I thought last week was the last chance to get to a public meeting, but apparently not. We have another big crowd that I know you're here to see Pat, not for any class, which is very nice of you. But in either case, great to see you. Glad you're here and see how the process works here at town board meetings. All right, well, let's get right to the resolutions, Pat. We have a few this evening, and please read through those for us.
A resolution approving a contract with New York State Electric and Gas Corporation for the acquisition of streetlights within the town and the related license and attachment agreement. Whereas on November 29, 2017, the town published a request for proposals seeking proposals from interested entities for a performance-based energy contract to acquire existing street lighting from the respective utility company owners and the procurement and installation necessary to upgrade all lighting fixtures to lighting and emitting diode LED lighting under the town's ownership. And whereas by resolution number 72 of 2018, the City Board accepted the proposal submitted by Siemens Industry Inc., which provides guaranteed savings from energy efficiencies resulting from the use of LED technology, reduced maintenance costs, and through the elimination of certain service and maintenance charges from existing utility owners. And whereas Siemens Inc. has completed a field audit of all facilities owned by NYSEG within the town and has reconciled those findings against an inventory supplied by NYSEG, including a field determination of the type, wattage, location, and phone number for each street lighting facility per Schedule A to the attached purchase and sale agreement. And whereas the inventory results in the sales price for the existing luminaires listed in Schedule A offered to the town by NYSEG of $81,739 for such streetlights pursuant to regulations from the New York State Public Service Commission for the book value of such utility assets. And whereas the town board wishes to purchase all streetlights owned by NYSEG within the town pursuant to the New York State Streetlight Replacement and Savings Act and related regulatory changes that authorize municipal acquisition of such utility-owned streetlights in order to replace and upgrade such equipment with new LED technology to achieve substantial energy savings associated with the more efficient LED lights pursuant to contract with Siemens Inc. And whereas NYSEG has also provided a detailed license and attachment agreement intended to govern the town's rights and responsibilities in maintaining, replacing, and operating new LED streetlights and night work lighting control nodes to allow for smart cities applications and technology going forward. Now, it would be resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the attached for the purchase and sale agreement with NYSEG for their utility-owned streetlights within the town and related license agreements for customer-owned area lighting attachments. And be further resolved that the controller is authorized to transfer $81,739 from the unreserved fund balance to the lighting district equipment for the acquisition costs incurred by the agreement. A resolution approving the provisional appointment of John D. Simone as the building inspector for civil service classification in the Building and Development Department. Whereas an opening exists in the Department of Building and Development for a building inspector due to the retirement of Derek Miller earlier this year. And whereas the position was advertised since July 2019. And whereas Mr. D. Simone has worked for the town since 2005. And after interviewing Mr. D. Simone, Edward Drive, South Glens Falls, Stephen Myers, Director of Building and Zoning, has recommended that Mr. D. Simone fill the position of building inspector in the Department of Building and Development. And whereas the appointment is provisional pending the next sitting for the civil service testing for this position, therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the transfer of John D. Simone to fill the position of building inspector, grade A, step 2, year 1, $35.86 per hour, $65,767 per year, to be paid from the net lines listed, effective January 6, 2020, and be it further resolved that all time accruals credited to Mr. D. Simone to date shall transfer to the Building and Development Department, and that Mr. D. Simone shall be credited with 25 leave with pay days for 2020. A resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into a professional services agreement with Environmental Design Partnership for the preparation of consulting services for the purpose of preparation of conceptual design of trail connection in the Stony Creek Park District Number 1. Whereas the town of Clifton Park has an existing trail system known as the Aspenwood Hayes Trail in Stony Creek Park District 1. And whereas the Stony Creek Park District 1 Committee has identified a gap in the pedestrian pathway system between Mystic Lane and Thoroughbred Way, the completion of which would allow the district to meet its goal to connect all the neighborhoods on the east side of Moe Road to various destinations such as Octave School, existing neighborhood pathways, Hayes Nature Park, and destinations beyond. And whereas in 2015, the town of Clifton Park and the Stony Creek Park District Number 1 were awarded $12,500 in County Trails grant, requiring a 50-50 match to design and construct such a route. And whereas at its regular meeting on December 10th, 2019, members of the Stony Creek Park District Number 1 recommended that the town board accept a proposal for engineering services offered by Environmental Design Partnership as outlined in the attached scope of services agreement at a cost not to exceed $7,500. That it be resolved that the town board determines that it is in public interest to undertake a survey and design analysis for the Mystic Lane to Thoroughbred Way connection in the Stony Creek Park District Number 1, and be further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute an agreement with Environmental Design Partnership for provisional design services for the trail connection between Mystic Lane and Thoroughbred Way, and be further resolved that the controller is authorized to disburse $7,500 for engineering services for the study and concept analysis for the trail connection to be paid from the net line is listed. A resolution authorizing budget transfers for calendar year 2019 specified in Exhibit A. Whereas the Comptroller has recommended that certain budget adjustments contained in Exhibit A be made to address the needs of all funds as well as other miscellaneous expenditures as set forth in Exhibit A, that therefore be resolved, that the budget transfers specified in Exhibit A be adopted per the Comptroller's recommendation. A resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign contracts with the 2020 subcontract hires. Whereas Myla Kramer, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs, has requested that the town board authorize certain contracts for certain recreation programs, and whereas the town board supports continuation of the listed recreation programs with the subcontractors listed on the attached Schedule A, now therefore be resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to sign contracts with 2020 recreational subcontractors per Schedule A. resolution authorizing the Clifton Park Baseball League to use town roadways for the second annual Clifton Park Baseball League Race to Cooperstown 5K road race. Whereas the Clifton Park Baseball League has requested the use of a portion of Clifton Common and Town of Clifton Park roadways as specified in the attachment here too on Saturday, April 4th, 2020, from 7 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. for the purpose of holding their Race to Cooperstown 2020 5K road race and kids fun run. And whereas the event has the approval of the town's highway superintendent, the director of parks and recreation, the buildings and grounds supervisor, the public safety director, now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the Clifton Park Baseball League to use a portion of Clifton Common and town roadways as specified in the attachment here too on April 4th, 2020 for the purpose of holding the 2020 Race to Cooperstown 5K and the Kids Fun Run, and be it further resolved that this approval is expressly conditioned upon receipt prior to March 28, 2020, in the Office of the Highway Superintendent and the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Community Affairs of an insurance certificate in the amount of $1 million, naming the town of Clifton Park as additional insured, and be it further resolved that this approval is expressly conditioned upon the roads not being closed, but members of the Clifton Park Baseball League are permitted to temporarily stop traffic at each end of the course in the event of the vehicle and race participants arrive at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Are there any questions on the resolutions? Okay. Pat, if you could read the headings, and we'll consider each resolution individually.
Resolution number 274, 2019, resolution approving a contract with New York State Electric and Gas Corporation for the acquisition of streetlights within the town and the related license and attachment agreement.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Romano, second by Mrs. Standard, and there are a total of 620 streetlights within the town of Clifton Park, most of which are in the National Grid service area. There are some within the NYSEG service area. So we have already approved our agreement with National Grid. Tonight, we're considering the agreement with NYSEG. Now, the opportunity to purchase streetlights became available through legislation New York State passed in 2015, and we were the first or among the first municipalities within the service area to begin the process of purchasing our streetlights. After the purchase is consummated, and we still have a lengthy approval process through the Public Service Commission, and so we still have some steps to go. After we purchase the streetlights, the bulbs will be changed out. LED bulbs will be installed in each streetlight. It will reduce the town's energy usage by 60 to 65%. And also the facility charges will be eliminated as well. Every municipality pays for the energy that is used in the streetlights within their boundaries. They also pay an annual facility charge to the utility, in this case, National Grid or NYSEG. So with a reduction in energy usage, obviously that will reduce our energy bill, and the elimination of the facility charges will also be a great thing for the town, not only in terrific savings for the town, not only in the near term, but obviously well into the future. So we started this process, it's hard to believe, it's a little over 2 years ago. We went through a very comprehensive procurement process, and this is new. It's new in New York State, especially in our service area. So we followed the process based on other similar procurement processes that we've completed in the past successfully. Because there's not a lot of history for anybody involved in this process to fall back on, including New York State, I think that has and will add to the time involved. once the state and the utilities have some experience, or more experience, completing these types of initiatives in New York State, I think the process will be that much more smooth, and there will be some experience and history for people to draw upon. Now, we did decide to partner with Siemens, and a large reason for that decision was that they have completed large conversion projects in other states, namely in New England, where they have, in large population centers, certainly areas that have many more streetlights than Clifton Park, have gone through the process, changed out the bulbs to LEDs, and the other exciting part of this is while that work is being done, there'll also be what they call nodes, for a general term, that will be installed on the lights, which will ensure that Clifton Park remains on the cutting edge of technology upgrades and exciting future capabilities. So we're very excited about this initiative. We have been for over 2 years now. We're hoping, coming into the home stretch, it did take quite some time to get through these agreements with the utilities. The fact that we had to deal with 2 utilities obviously just added to that time involved. But this process will now go to the Public Service Commission. Difficult to say how long that approval process might take. I would say at least a few months. Hopefully we'll be surprised and pleasantly surprised. It'll be a shorter time frame. But hard to say that once it goes to the Public Service Commission, it's really out of our hands. So I think we have talked about this at length, obviously, for the last couple of years. But this tonight is I would call it a watershed moment in the process, because we had 2 utilities to work with, and now will have 2 approved agreements with the utilities. So very pleased with the process so far. Any questions, comments? I know we've talked this out quite a bit, but all right. So we'll keep everybody updated. Like I said, as soon as we receive any indication, word, decision from the PSC and the other agencies involved, we'll certainly let everybody know, because we would like to get this project started this year, if at all possible, or next year, if at all possible. Okay. All right. Seeing none, Pam?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Stanhope?
Yes.
Councilman Meyer?
Yes.
Councilman Marwood?
Yes.
Lecter?
Yes.
Resolution number 275 of 2019. A resolution approving the provisional appointment of John DeSimone as the building inspector for civil service classification in the Building and Development Department.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Ms. Wallowit, and John's here this evening. How you doing, John?
Great, John.
John's been a very good employee for the town of Clifton Park for a number of years. He's somebody that regularly takes the initiative to improve his resume, his qualifications. When we need somebody to have the ability and the qualification to drive large equipment, Class A is the top. John has his Class A. He began at the transfer station. He moved to the highway department. Did a very good job in not only being a snowplow driver, but also internally helping the town save funds. And he has now expressed interest in the open position in the building department. So it'll be something new for John, but based on his past history with the town and his willingness to go above and beyond to increase his capabilities, certifications, and licenses. we have every confidence that he'll be able to complete the training that's involved with the position and execute the duties of the job in a timely and successful manner. Steve Myers, who will be John's boss. You have anything to say, Steve?
Yeah, I think it'll work out great for us. We need more help, and John seems real willing to attempt the position, and I think he'll do fine. And hopefully he'll have his training completed by the summer.
Very good. And John is stepping into a good situation because between Steve and some other long-term employees within the department, he'll be able to shadow that personnel and learn a great deal, institutional knowledge, and not only the code and what you need to know on a day-to-day basis when reviewing plans and conducting inspections, but just the institutional knowledge that's so important with any position within the town. So the ability to learn from long-term employees, I think, will serve John well. We did have, as we all know, there was a retirement. Derek Miller retired during the year, which created the opening that is now being filled. So we wish you all the best, John, and we'll support you every step of the way, and we know you'll do a great job for the town.
Thank you.
I was ditto.
Oh,
Not in agreement.
very good. Anything you want to say, John, before we decide your fate on this position?
I'd just like to thank the town board, thank Steve for the opportunity, and Dan Bull, the highway superintendent. It's a pleasure to have many years with him, and he's doing a great job. I see the future of the highway going in a positive direction. In the 15 years I've been with the town, I went back to college, and got my degree, and to utilize that to finish out my career with a new chapter with Steve, I look forward to it.
Yeah, and I think this will be an exciting new chapter for you, and a good progression in your career with the town. All right, very good. Pat?
Council Whalen?
Yes.
Council Standard?
Yes.
Council Romano?
Yes.
Council Mullen? Yes. Vice Chair?
Yes. He asked me about the town clerk's position yesterday. I told him it was too late.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do.
Resolution number 276 of 2019, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into professional services agreement with Environmental Design Partnership for the preparation of consulting services for the purpose of preparation of conceptual design of a trail connection in the Stony Creek Park District number 1.
So moved. Second?
Moved by Mr. Romano, second by Ms. Wallow. Discussion. Okay.
Council Whalen?
Yes.
Council Standard?
Yes.
Council Romano?
Yes.
Council Mullen?
Yes.
Yes.
Resolution number 277 of 2019, a resolution authorizing budget transfers for calendar year 2019 as specified in Exhibit A.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Whalen, and these house cleaning items. Mark, anything to add here?
That's correct. It's this is going to get us close to the end, and then we'll have another runs at the end after the books are all put together.
Very good. Any discussion?
Council Whalen?
Yes.
Council Standard?
Yes.
Council Romano?
Yes.
Council Mullen? Yes. Vice Chair?
Yes.
Resolution number 278 of 2019, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign contracts with the 2020 subcontract hires.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Whalen, second by Mrs. Standard, and we continue to add to our list of activities. Everything from golf to basketball to cooking, chess, cheerleading, volleyball, yoga, you name it. Anything to add here, Mother?
No, we're thrilled to have such a great group of subcontractors.
that run programs for us throughout the year. And if I could just throw out now with all of the students here, that in January, our applications will be out for camp counselors. If anyone's thinking up ahead for a summer job, maybe you should stop by the office.
And lifeguards.
And lifeguards.
Who wants to be a lifeguard? Raise your hand. It's a cool job. You gotta get tan, hang out. Sunshine. Nice. Yeah. Okay, Pat?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Standar?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Oliver?
Yes.
Councilman Barry?
Yes.
Resolution number 279 of 2019, a resolution authorizing the Clifton Park Baseball League to use town roadways for the second annual Clifton Park Baseball League Race to Cooperstown 5K road race.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Whalen. Discussion.
Councilman Whalen? Councilman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Waller? Yes. Vice Barry?
Yes. All right. Any other business to come before the board this evening? Okay. I just want to wish everybody a wonderful holiday season, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I just want to thank everybody for all their efforts in 2019. It's been a very successful year in the town of Clifton Park. 2020 is going to be exciting in many ways with the initiatives that we're working on currently and new ideas that will be forthcoming. Very, very excited for 2020 for the town of Clifton Park. And we need to work harder each and every year to ensure that this town continues to improve, never resting on our laurels, always working, striving to do better. I saw a great shirt the other day. Lamar Jackson. Anybody know who Lamar Jackson is? Quarterback for Ravens. Yeah, I saw it a couple weeks in a row. He had a shirt during his press conference that said, "Who cares? Work harder." And I just said, it's a great shirt because when it comes right down to it, that's our responsibility to work harder each and every year to ensure that we're moving the town forward across all segments of our community. So that's what we're going to look forward to in 2020. Bigger and better and greater heights. So, with that, we want to go to public privilege. If you'd like to speak on a town matter, please raise your hand. We'll ask that you come forward, state your name and address for the record, and please keep it to 5 minutes or less. Anybody who would like to speak tonight? No? Okay. Very good. Now I'm going out of order tonight. Pat hates it when I do that. But we're actually not done with our resolutions. We have one more resolution. But I'm going to read it. Pat's not going to read it. So, if that's okay. I don't know if I've ever read a resolution. I think this is my first reading of a resolution.
Let's see how fast you can read.
Oh no, we gotta take our time with this one. Yeah, this one's not about speed. So this will be resolution number 280 of 2019. Whereas Patricia Pat O'Donnell, a native of Mount Vernon, New York, moved to Clifton Park 50 years ago and never once looked back. And whereas Pat O'Donnell began her distinguished career in town government in the 1980s, serving first as the secretary for the Parks and Recreation Commission, and later as secretary for the Fire Advisory Board. And whereas in 1989, Pat O'Donnell was appointed as deputy clerk to town clerk Millie Peck, the start of a new profession that would last for decades. And whereas in 1992, Pat O'Donnell successfully sought the nomination for Clifton Park Town Clerk, won election, and has been re-elected every 2 years since. And for over 30 years, Pat O'Donnell's smiling face has been the face of Town Hall, greeting residents when they visited the town clerk's office for a license, permit, or even a question about a town service. And Pat O'Donnell has been the standard of public service, often the first person residents meet when they move into town, with a warm welcome and willingness to fulfill any request. And whereas Pat O'Donnell has helped to save and change lives for the better by organizing biannual blood drives at Town Hall for the American Red Cross, and whereas Pat O'Donnell's love for the performing arts has made her a strong voice and a passionate advocate for the arts in Clifton Park, serving as a performer and driving force behind the success of the Clifton Park Community Chorus and the Not-So-Common Players. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Town Supervisor Phil Barrett, and the entire town board, on behalf of the town of Clifton Park, do hereby commend Pat O'Donnell, our esteemed colleague and friend, for her service to the town of Clifton Park and its residents. We are honored to have her in our community and look forward to her continued involvement toward the betterment of the town of Clifton Park. So I will make a motion that we approve the resolution. With a second, the entire board with their permission. And, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, Pat. So I want to give Pat the final word. Again, something I never do. We're breaking all rules now. So Pat, we want to give you the last word, and thank you for everything you've done.
Well, give me a minute. I just have to thank everyone for the last 30 years. It's been wonderful. I've said this before, but I think I laughed every day. I loved every minute, 99% 9 of the days. Everything was great. To work with the people I've worked with that are here tonight has been just fantastic. This town board has been wonderful. I have to acknowledge two people who have been at most of my town board meetings, Pam and John. And, I just thank everybody for everything that's been done, for all the commendations that everyone has given me. It's been wonderful. It's been great.
Well, I think the crowd and the at your retirement party, it was just a wonderful night. Full room. Everybody was just happy for Pat, in a great mood. There was a lot of love in the room. It was just a wonderful night, and great tribute to you, and well deserved, I must say.
Overwhelming. It's wonderful. People said what they loved about it was that it turned out to be a great reunion for people.
It did.
Yes.
It was. It was. It really was.
So,
It's a great way to put it.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, very good. I will, and we do have, of course, a frame version. And it's official too. It's got the stamp. It's got the gold stamp with the ribbons. So, if you would, as a last act, take a picture with us. We'd appreciate it. So right after the meeting, we'll take a picture here with Pat. But don't worry, we're going to sign everybody's sheets. Just hang in there. Don't. As soon as we're done with the pictures. As soon as we're done with the pictures, we will quickly sign your sheets and you'll be able to get on your way. Okay? So.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilor Whalen?
Yes.
Stand up? Yes. Councilor Romano?
Yes.
Walworth?
Yes, ma'am.